Once again, my name is B Walk and welcome back to Cop Your Coin, where I show you how to cop your coin in the fastest growing market in world history. Let's get it. And of course, I'm going to ask you to do three things, fam. I'm going to ask you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that alert button so that you know when fresh content is out from Cop Your Coin. Jumping right into it, I wanted to go back over the cryptocurrency markets real quick. In my last video, I talked about a level that we needed to hold. As you can see, today the markets are very strong, obviously, or stronger. Let's say that they're looking bullish. Right now we have Bitcoin at 72.90. I think if you remember correctly, I was talking about it needed to hold the level of 7,000. I'll look at that chart in a second. Also, we have Ethereum that's hovering right below 300. That'd be a big place if it could get above 300. And as you can see, just going down here, we have a few red, but mostly green. That's important. Okay, so if I can look at the chart real quick, here you go. So this is the chart, the daily chart of Bitcoin, and you can get an idea. So each one of these candles represents one day, one data point, one day. And if you look at right here, this is where I was talking about originally. And I'll zoom in a little bit. This candle right here, as you can see, has a long wick, and that wick is touching the 6,800 level, which is what we were talking about before. That was the support. It was at one time it was resistance, as you can see here, but it got above that. And I remember I said you need to make sure that you let the candle paint completely. On a daily chart, that means it takes 24 hours for each candle to fill. Now, let's say you didn't let that happen and you're sitting here and you started panicking. And let's say you had just bought here and you say, I'm selling. If you'd done that, you'd have missed out, because as you see right now, we're still steadily marching towards the 200 moving day average and this trend line that I have drawn right here, this green trend line. And I think this is going to be a real interesting point of price inflection. So we're going to see what happens here. Is it going to be able to break through? I tell you what, if it breaks through, get ready for it probably to run, I think, eventually to 10,000 easily by the end of this year, maybe much further than that. If it falls again, then we'll see what happens if it's able to hold this support level. But again, that's something I wanted to go back to again to show you that this is how you can have charts help you and help you make your decisions and then be long-term with them. So it gives you a great starting point, a great area where you can say, let me draw my line in the sand, so that for example, if I had bought here and let's say it gets here and then falls here, then drops here, then maybe I want to sell at this line. That's fine, because again, it shows you the weakness. And again, it's pretty much self-fulfilling prophecy why these charts work the way that they do. And it's because a lot of people look at the charts, and people have been people since people have been people. So everybody knows these lines, and you can see them as you draw. You can see the candles bounce on them. These lines I've drawn these lines a while ago, but as you can see, that people remember. They remember price levels. They remember price action. So switching gears real quick, I want to go to a couple articles that I was looking at over the weekend and just kind of reminiscing, if you will. One of them says, if you had purchased $100 of Bitcoin in 2011, how much money would you have? Okay. And then the comparison for that also is if you had invested $1,000 in Apple 10 years ago. Now, obviously this is in 2011, 10 years ago would be 2008. And then hear how much money you'd have now. Take a guess, as you're probably thinking, you're like, I'd be a millionaire if I was a Bitcoin investor. And yeah, you'd probably be a millionaire. And we'll go back down to it. Both these articles, again, anything that I talk about is going to be down in the description, so you can take a look at the URLs for yourself. But to kind of get away from the suspense, if you had purchased $100 of Bitcoin in 2011, as of the end of August 2018, you'd have approximately $2.3 million. Wow. Yeah, that's quite a bit of money. On the same token, if you had bought $1,000 in Apple 10 years ago, 2008, remember that was Steve Jobs was still alive at that point. The iPhone had just recently come out. You would have over $10,000 today. Now, I'm sure there's some of you out there saying, well, 2.3 million and 10,000, one is life changing, the other one is not. True, but it's not so much an either or. And listen to me when I say this, because you want, as an investor, you want to be able to invest in various financial instruments. You want to be able to understand and read what's happening, what's going on. I pride myself on investing in opportunities and asset classes that I deem value. I see the value in, and cryptocurrency is certainly one. The advent of the internet, and I remember this, and I'll get into this a little later, but is the advent of the internet was starting in the early 90s or mid 90s, excuse me, like 96, 97 was when it really became public, what was going on. And here we are 20 years later, and it's almost goes without saying that the internet is like, people will say, well, of course I would have invested back then. But believe me, at that time, a lot of people were kind of like, well, what is this? They didn't quite understand it. At the same time, with Apple, it was a game changer, because again, it was the idea of a phone that had music, had the internet, and had the capability of making a phone call. And this, for those of you who don't remember this, we just had cell phones that just really became popular at the flip of 2000. I mean, they had started becoming ubiquitous towards the late 90s and 2000, but everybody had the new cell phone and what was going to happen with that. But Apple changed the game when they came out with the iPhone. It wasn't that they were the first smartphone to the market, far from it actually, but it was the first one to make it easy to use. So really, this is a lesson on having some vision and thinking forward. Now, what I like to say about it, the key point again is, it takes a little bit of money to make money. There's an old saying, it takes money to make money. But think about it this way: $100 of Bitcoin, that's all you need to put in there. Now, for a number of people, $100 is a lot of money. But I know a number of my friends and colleagues, $100, they put that out and they spend that. If that was gone tomorrow, it's not going to change their life. Most people, it's not going to change their life. They lose $100. That's worth putting in. Same thing with $1,000. Now, it's a little bit more of a serious investment, okay? But at the same time, $1,000, again, not life-changing. Now, you could have put $1,100 in both of these. So $1,000 in Apple, $100 in Bitcoin, and just left it alone. And you'd be very happy with your results in 2018, let me tell you. So let's take a look at the charts real quick. We're going to go to Bitcoin. Now, I don't have, because I'm using TradingView. TradingView only goes back to 2015 as far as actually tracking the price of Bitcoin. But as you can see, for a long time, it was pretty much, so was it sub $400, and just moving and moving and moving. And then we obviously had this spike here. These are, once again, this is a monthly chart. So each candle represents 1 month, okay? And so I just want to draw that attention. So each candle is 1 month. That's why it's moving so fast from 2015 all the way to current time in 2018. However, what I wanted you to see is you see it moves up, and it takes a lot of fortitude, because in this candle, although it's green and we can look back in hindsight and say, oh yeah, I would have stayed there. I would have bought here and I would have stayed. There's a lot of movement in here. And a lot of times you start up high, like right here, and actually go much lower. So in September 1, 2017 was a tough time to hold. Now, end up closing higher for that month. Obviously you would have been fine, but this is obviously an investment where you'd be tempted to sell. Look at the price action. It was close to about $4,000 here. Now remember, you bought in for $100. Bitcoin at that time, you would have had 333 coins for $100. So each coin would have been worth, at this point, approximately $4,500. Now, how many of you had the fortitude and the intestinal to stay and ride it all the way up here to 19,000? Not many. Not many. At the same time, look at it now. It's right back down at 7,000. Okay, so this is a lesson in patience and in vision. What are you going to do? On the same token, you have Apple here. Okay, so obviously Apple's been trading for a long time, back in the 90s. We have plenty of data on that. And as you can see, again, Apple, although it is what I consider right now a blue chip, and probably everybody on Wall Street does that now, it still is volatile. You know, you had a price here, $94, and it dropped all the way down here a few months later. 10 months later, it was at $53 in half. Now, this is split adjusted. At the time, Apple wasn't, I think Apple split for 7 for 1 back here in, I want to say 2015, 2014. However, the shape of the chart is the same. Do you have the fortitude to hold on to this times where it's going to gap, and it's gapped up obviously this month, this past month going in. I guarantee it's going to pull back a little bit. But again, these are two charts that I draw from, that I show you and say, what are you going to do next? Okay, so obviously past performance does not dictate future results. Any financial planner worth their salt would tell you that. However, what I also tell you is although the advent of the internet was in the late 1990s, Google did not IPO until 2004. Now, if you had Google, you'd be pretty happy with your results. Let's take a look at it real quick. I'll pull that one up. Okay, so like I said, Google right here, as you can see, so this IPO'd way back here in 2004. And as you see, it has grown stronger and stronger and stronger. So it wasn't the first company on the internet. However, it is a very strong company now. You know, and that was for a price of IPO'd, I want to say about $85. And that day it closed at 100. So again, the point is, what's going to be the next Bitcoin? Do you think Bitcoin is going to be the dominant king forever? I don't know that it will. Now, I think Bitcoin's going to go much higher than 20,000 personally, but I think it's going to take some time. As you see in those charts, it's not going to happen overnight. But I don't know that Bitcoin is actually going to be the dominant currency going forward. So, question of the day. What is the next Bitcoin in your opinion? What cryptocurrency? It probably is an altcoin that's out here now that's gathering steam, a Cardano, a Stellar Lumens, a EOS, maybe a One Chain, a Substrandum. I don't know. What is it going to be? What's going to be the next one? Is it Ethereum? Maybe it's Ethereum. Maybe it's Litecoin. What do you think is going to be the next dominant coin? What will rise to dominance in the cryptocurrency market? All right, and I'll see you next time on Cop Your Coin.